everyone, and welcome to episode 135 of the Giddy Knits podcast. As always, I am Helen and I am coming to you from Dundee in Scotland, and this is my crafty podcast where I sit and I chat about all of the projects that I've been working on since the last episode. Usually knitting, crochet, a bit of cross stitch occasionally, a variety of different projects. And since the last episode in this case has been a while. I know, I disappeared again in terms of the podcast. There have been a few other videos up. There's been 3 little Vlogtober vlogs that I did during October. And over on my Patreon channel, I don't know what to call it. My Patreon page, my Patreon thing. There have still been my regular little Patreon vlogs as well over there. But the podcast, as always, when life gets busy and chaotic, has suffered and disappeared for a bit. But I'm back. Things have calmed down. September and October are always a ridiculously busy period of time with advents, and I have a yarn show in October. There's also 2 weeks of school holidays in October. So yeah, the last couple of months have been insanely busy, but advents have all shipped, all of that chaos has subsided, and I am now into calmer month of November, despite the fact that I've got 2 kids' birthdays in November as well. But that's easier to deal with somehow. So yeah, I am back. And I thought we would use the bit of a gap as a little bit of a reset for the podcast as well. So no massive changes, don't worry, nothing big is changing. But I am just changing up a little bit kind of the titles of my sections, I guess, but not massively. So we'll see how it goes. So what I'm going to share is, and I had a question as well for you all a little bit later on, and I have a giveaway at the end of the video as well. So what have I got? I have an announcement section to share. I've got some finished objects to share. We're changing works in progress I'm going to be now calling it in the basket. What's in the basket kind of thing, because I have a basket. I'll explain that when I get to that section. Then we have on the horizon, which is our new kind of projects that are needle adjacent, let's call it. Things that I'm looking to cast on soon. The yarn's already caked, everything's ready to go, but I haven't quite cast them on yet. And then I've got a little bit of shop news that I'm going to share as well, and a giveaway. So I will get into it and then I'll explain a little bit more as I go through, I guess. I don't really know. There will obviously be other sections and stuff that come in. Sometimes I do a blanket progress section if I talk about blankets a bit more. In this case, they're getting mixed into in the basket section. We'll see how it goes. Let me know what you think. I also have a new light. See, interestingly, my setup doesn't look any different to you, but I have changed my entire office around. So rather than being on the end wall with the window in front of me, I'm now on the side wall. The door to my office is in front of me. The window is down that end. But interestingly, my backdrop is very similar still because that's just how it's worked out. But I have a new light, so I'm hoping this will be a little bit easier for setting up, for recording the podcast and things like that. Yeah, shall I just get into it? We'll start with announcements because I do need to announce some winners for the Giddy Yarns Make-Along, the 3rd quarter, which ended at the end of September. So I have been through and I have drawn winners from Discord, Ravelry and Instagram as always. I might need to change up a little bit how you enter for make-alongs in the future. I think we're going to have to stop using Instagram as an entry, unfortunately, because it is no longer letting me sort the tagged posts chronologically. It will give me top posts, which are the ones that have had the most likes, and it will give me recent top posts, but that doesn't give me everything and it doesn't sort chronologically. So I can no longer look back through the last quarter and just count how many there are, because I'm getting posts from March 2022, followed by May, followed by August, followed by October, followed by April. And And it's just, that's not going to work. That's impossible. It's going to take me too much time to sit through and sort through every single post, and I will be missing some as well. So I'm afraid we're going to have to go to just entries on Ravelry and Discord going forward. Those two places will be linked under the video, and I will also make sure that I put a little explanation under the video as to why Instagram is no longer an entry option. Don't worry about it for the Halloween make-along. I will do my best to sort through. If you've only entered on Instagram, then I'll do my best to sort through that one. Hopefully, actually that one should be okay, because the hashtag is more specific for that one, so it should just be everything under the hashtag. The issue with the Giddy Yarns one is that the hashtag is generic throughout the year, so all the posts get mixed up. So maybe I could just give you a new hashtag each quarter for an Instagram entry. Maybe I could do that. What do you think? Do you still want an Instagram entry, or are you happy with just Discord and Ravelry entries? Let me know in the comments, and I will have a little think about how I do that going forward. I could give a new hashtag every quarter, and that would solve the issue, rather than having the generic hashtag and having to search through. Have a think. Anyway, the Giddy Yarns make-along for July, August and September needs some winners. There were 17 entries in Discord, 6 entries in Ravelry, and 7 entries that I could find on Instagram, so hopefully I found them all. But I stuck those numbers into random number generator, and this time round we went Discord, Ravelry, Instagram in that order. And the first one that was drawn was, in fact, both of them were actually from the Discord thread in the end. But the first winner is Ravens Rock Knits, who knit a gorgeous pair of fairground socks, which is a pattern by Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears, using my self-striping. It's gorgeous, isn't it? I love this pattern. I am favouriting this pattern, definitely, for future knitting. And then the second entry that won is Jenna, who also knit a pair of vanilla socks. Well, she also knit a pair of socks. In this case, vanilla socks, using my Chaotic Cauldron Halloween colourway from a few years ago. So yeah, there we go. They are the two winners. Both of you get in touch with me. Just drop me an email or a message on Instagram or Discord or something. Get in touch with me. And as a prize for the Giddy Yarns make-along, I generally just do either a gift card, or if there's something in the shop that you want currently, then I will just, that's fine, we can just do that. So basically, it's a skein of yarn, but you either have it as a gift card or you can pick it from the shop. So yeah, Halloween make-along is still open. We've given it a little bit of extra time this year because I know what it's like working to a deadline of Halloween, and I thought let's give you an extra couple of weeks for if you haven't quite finished those Halloween projects. So I will be closing that one on the 15th of November. So you've got another week still, I think, something like that. So yeah, get your entries in. There is a hashtag for Instagram entry, which I think is GY Halloween MAL 2023. I will put it on the screen if I've got that wrong. Well, I'll put it on the screen anyway. And you can obviously enter in the Ravelry thread and in the Discord group as well. There are sections there for you to be able to enter. I have prizes. I haven't picked the prizes up. I have prizes, and I have yet to share the prizes. I've had a wonderful donation of some absolutely gorgeous Halloween project bags, and I've also got some yarny prizes from myself as well that I've got planned. I will share them next time I record, when I announce the prizes. So it will be a little bit of a surprise as to what you're going to win. But there are some lovely prizes. Right, shall we get on with talking about some actual knitting, shall we? I do have a couple of little finished objects. Now, as I was saying, or was I saying, or was I not saying, I lost my knitting mojo quite a lot in September. I really, really struggled. I wasn't picking up my knitting. I was so tired that in the evenings I was just kind of vegging out and not even reaching for my knitting, or I would reach for it and it would sit on my lap and it would just stay there for the whole evening and I wouldn't knit a stitch. So I was trying to think of what could I do to get my knitting mojo back, what little things would really kind of spark that knitting mojo. And I always find that like little quick projects often help. So I did two things, and my Patreons helped me out with this. And I knit two little things. One of which was a gnome. I did a Patreon video of can I knit a gnome in a week, and this was my pure focus for a week, and I did finish it. So I knit Normanda. The camera doesn't want to focus on you, Normanda. It's because it can still see my face, I think. There we go. I knit Normanda, who is sibling, I guess, to Neil, who is just here. They are both part of the... Oh, I've forgotten the name of the collection. I've completely forgotten the name of the collection. They're not mystery gnomes. They're patterns by Imagined Landscapes. The Grindlewood collection, or Grimblewood collection, something like that, I think. And they are all gnomes from Sarah at Imagined Landscapes. But they weren't mystery ones. They were released, I think, originally they were released as a set specifically with a dyer, a Canadian or American dyer, I'm not 100% sure, who did kits for all of the gnomes in the set, and they weren't available separately until this year. But I picked the patterns up this year and I am slowly working my way through them. So yeah, this is Normanda. She's got lovely little plaits. She's got a dress, which I think is removable, but I have a feeling I might have tacked it on just to make sure it didn't go anywhere. And I'm really pleased with that one. And it was a great little kind of Knitting Mojo buster, I guess is the word. As I said, I did a video on Patreon where I did like a little vlog of the process of knitting Normanda during a week and whether I would make it in the week or not. And that was really fun and I really enjoyed it. And then the other little thing I knit as well, which really helped me get past my lack of knitting mojo, was a little ghosty. So this is a pattern by, I can't remember what it's called, the pattern. Is it just called Ghost or something? I can't remember. This is a pattern by Susan Claudino. And it was such a fun, again, it's not focusing on the ghost. There we go. It's such a fun little pattern. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So simple, really well written. I love his little facial features. You put little eyebrows and a little mouth on. And yeah, he was such a good, quick little knit. He actually uses less than a 20-gram mini. I think I used just over 15 grams of yarn. So he's a really good little mini buster. And a really nice quick little project. Arthur has now adopted him. I actually had to go and fish him out of Arthur's bed, which is more of a challenge than it sounds, because Arthur has one of those, he's got the smallest room in the house, and it's just a tiny little box room, but we got him when we moved in one of those massive cabin beds. So it's a really high cabin bed, so actually I can't see into it. It's like this height on me. I can't see into it. I have to stand on a chair to be able to see into his bed. But it's got like a desk and a wardrobe and lots of storage and stuff underneath. So it makes it work really well in such a small room. Anyway, I had to stand on a chair and fish around in all his bedding to find the little ghost. But they worked. And they really helped with my knitting mojo issues. So that was really good because that was the goal, really. The other thing I've done is started a whole load of new projects because I just needed something new and fresh and exciting. So I have got a whole load of new projects to share with you. Some of these you will have seen before. I've not frogged anything particularly, so there's still the other projects that you've been watching and kind of been seeing will be coming back, but these are the ones that I'm currently working on. And let's have an explanation of the in the basket. So I have a basket. This is my basket. I picked this basket up when we were in France over the summer visiting my aunt and uncle, and this now lives next to my side of the sofa. And what I'm doing is keeping all my current projects in. So the ones that I'm reaching for, the ones that I'm actively knitting on, are living in this basket at the moment. And then also next to the side of the sofa is a cabinet which has got all the rest of my whips in, but those ones are a bit more hidden away. So our new section is what's in the basket, which is kind of the current things that I'm working on. So there are currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things in the basket. So it's not a small basket. and we will go through them and I will show you any progress I've made. Some of these will be new cast-ons for you as well because, as I said, I've cast on quite a few new things, but it's a bit of a reset, so why not? So we will start with a project that has been on the needles for a while and living in a little grey girl bag. These are my bookshelf socks. This is a pattern by, oh my goodness, how have I forgotten your name? That's terrible. Becky Mundy, who is Becky Knits on YouTube, and this is a pattern by her. I have finished one of the socks so far. I will show you the finished sock, and I am probably maybe nearly halfway down the leg of the second sock. They've definitely not had as much love as they should have done, partly because I've cast on new projects, but I am keeping these in my active whips as well because I want them finished and I really like them, and it is a really nice, enjoyable pattern to knit. Oh, I've picked up my smaller sock blocker so it doesn't look like it fits quite properly, but oh well. So here they are. The yarn I'm using is a Craft House Magic yarn, and I've forgotten the colourway name, but I'm pretty sure I have the yarn band in here somewhere. It's from her Music from the Movies, not Magic from the Movies. Music from the Movies Yarn Club from 2021. And this colourway is the Top Gun colourway, so it's called Take My Breath Away. And it is gorgeous. I love this combination of like the oranges and purples. It's a really unusual combination, but it works really, really nicely. And the patterning on the leg is really, really pretty as well. So yeah, that's the one finished sock. And the second sock has been cast on and I am part way down the leg. So I'm almost exactly halfway down the leg because I've done just over 30 rows. So it's coming along, and definitely will see a bit more progress. I did cast on, however, a new pair of socks because I wanted some, well, I cast on a new pair of socks because I wanted some vanilla socks to knit on, and I'd always intended to have a pair of hand-dyed yarn in probably a patterned sock, and then a pair of commercial yarn socks in a vanilla sock. But once I cast this one on, I actually ended up not doing it as vanilla as I'd planned, but it's still a simple sock. It's fine. And again, I finished one sock in this as well. So the yarn I cast on is some Knit Picks Felici in the, is it the Over the Rainbow? No, Cloudy with a Chance of Rainbows is the name of the colourway. So if you've not come across Knit Picks Felici before, it is a commercial sock yarn. Knit Picks have a UK website. I think they're an American brand, but they have a UK website. And they do a whole range of fun self-striping colourways. They're not always the most reliable in terms of their colour changes. And I have had balls before where you've got halfway through and then for some reason all of a sudden the colour order has changed and gone back the other way, or things have gone quite wrong with it. So yeah, bear that in mind. And there are definitely sections where the colour change has been quite long, where it should have been, I can't see an example here. I don't know if you'll be able to see if this will focus or if my light will be all right. You can see with this one, there's a darker line of a darker burgundy for a short period of time before it goes into the purple. And again, that's just where that colour transition was a lot longer for some reason. But, you know, the commercially dyed sock yarn. And the one thing I will say is Felici is very, very soft. It is actually a merino. It's a superwash merino and nylon yarn. It does have a tendency to felt slightly. I definitely wouldn't put these in the tumble dryer. I mean, I don't tend to put my socks in the tumble dryer anyway, but they have been known to accidentally end up in the tumble dryer and survive, whereas I know the Felici ones would not survive if they ended up in the tumble dryer. So I do find the bottoms of the feet felt a little bit when I've used Felici before, but it doesn't really bother me in a pair of socks, to be honest. But yeah, we have this first sock is finished. You can see all my little bulb pins to mark my, I don't really know why I bothered, because this is a self-striping sock, so I can just match the stripes rather than needing to measure the length of the foot or anything, but it keeps me going. I find it gives me a little bit of a nudge. It's like, oh, right, okay, I've done 40 rows in the leg. I only need to do another 20. Like, it gives me a little bit of a nudge. It keeps me going a little bit. So it's just habit, really. Oh, that is my husband phoning. He is in the midst of marking at the moment, and it is his least favourite job at work. So he was bored and decided to ring me instead of doing his work. But he's fine. He also said to tell you all that he says hello and that you should all like and subscribe. So there we go. Message passed on. Anyway, where was I? My Felici socks. I have cast the second one on, but I haven't got very far. I have done literally like that. I haven't even finished the rib. So not a lot of progress on the second sock of that one. But a whole first sock has been completed. So yes. What else have I got? The next thing is another new cast on. If I can shut that bag. Oh, don't go in there properly. There we go. Is another new cast on. I have cast on, this is actually a teacher gift for Arthur's new teacher for this year. She's lovely. She's an NQT, so she's a newly qualified teacher, and this is her first class. And they are all kind of 9, 10, 11-year-olds, that kind of age. Primary 6, which is year 5 in England. I don't know what that translates to elsewhere in the world, but yeah, 9, 10, some of them turning 11. Yeah, that kind of age, basically. And this year they've been reading The Hobbit. As a class, she's been reading The Hobbit to them, and they've been theming a lot of their activities around The Hobbit and things like that, which Arthur has loved. I was a little bit, and I'm sure I've said this somewhere before, I was a little bit peeved to start with because I wanted to be the first person to read him The Hobbit, and that was going to be our plan. It was going to be one of our next books, but it's fine. He's now reading it at school, and he's very happy, and he's very enjoying it. But I thought for Christmas, having got a whole range of Hobbit-inspired yarns, I would knit her a Hobbit-inspired hat. So I've dug out a couple of colourways. So this one here, whoa, I very nearly dipped that in my cup of tea. This one here is The Lonely Mountain. And this is just, this one is called, what is this one called? I feel like it's called Storm, or, oh, I can't remember what I've called my own thing, my own colourway. It's not called Storm. I can't remember. Shadow. I knew it began with an S. It's called Shadow. So, The Lonely Mountain and Shadow. And I am knitting a tender hat, which is a pattern by Melody Hoffman. I've knit it before, and it's written for DK and DK and lace weight held together. I'm going to be holding 2 strands of the 4-ply with 1 strand of the Surrey alpaca fluff, which is what I did with my last one, and it worked out absolutely fine. I haven't got very far in this, but I have cast it on and I am on the rib, and this is how it's looking so far. So it should be a really nice cosy hat. I thought The Lonely Mountain was a relatively neutral colour and grey is relatively neutral, so it wasn't going to be too crazy, but I thought I would pop a little note in with it to let her know that the yarn is inspired by The Hobbit, and that's why we picked it. Arthur's quite excited. He thinks she'll really like it. So yeah, teacher gift, needs to be finished by the end of term, but it's a relatively quick hat project. So yeah, when I pick that up, I'll make some progress. Another new cast on. There's a fair few. This is one of my little Halloween projects. It's living in a lovely little project bag by Ollie and Bella. She sent me, Cherie sent me this one and another one. So she sent me this one as a gift and another one as a podcast prize a couple of years ago, I think. Was it last year or the year before for the Halloween make-along? I can't remember. Anyway, I really like it. It's perfect for Halloween projects. And I am making some little Halloween mittens. So these are the Zombie Vixen mitts, which is also a pattern by Susan Claudino. I've got one kind of finished. It's not actually finished. I will pop it on so I can show you a little bit more easily. I've not done the thumb. That's the only reason it's not actually finished. But here it is. They are cabled mittens. But as you can see, the yarn kind of stripes a little bit and is quite a busy yarn. So you lose a little bit of the cable effect, but I'm not worried. I was kind of expecting that to happen anyway. But they are really nice. They are inspired by Daryl Dixon from The Walking Dead, which if you've been around for a while, you'll know that I love The Walking Dead series. It's pretty much my comfort watch. Like when I need something mindless to just stick on in the background, it's The Walking Dead. So yeah, I finished one. As I said, I haven't done the thumb yet. I'm going to do the thumbs together at the end. Whoa, again, very nearly ended up in my cup of tea. I am so clumsy today. I think I might need to move my cup of tea. Let's fetch that back again. Oh, now it's got caught around the leg of the camera tripod. There we go. I have cast on the second one as well, and I think I've done one full repeat of the cable chart. If I come too close to the camera, the lighting gets all funny, so I'm trying to show you. There we go. I think I've done one full repeat of the cable chart. The yarn I'm using is really pretty to start with. It's a very pretty yarn. Come on, camera. Show the very pretty yarn in focus, please. There we go. Is the very pretty yarn, but it has got quite a lot of dark kind of blacks, navy kind of colours. So it's definitely not the best to be doing a cable pattern with in the dark. But it's a yarn that I got, I can't remember if I did it in a swap or if I was gifted it, which is terrible. I really should make notes of these things. I should write it on the yarn bands, shouldn't I? But it is, the colourway is called Zombie Moon, and it is from Big Knitters, which I believe is an American brand. But it is very, very pretty, and I'm very much enjoying it. And also nice to get a skein of yarn that's been in my stash for a fair while into a project as well. So that is my Zombie Vixen mitts. I'd like to get these finished by the 15th of November. I know I can't enter our Halloween make-along for prizes anyway, but it would still be nice to kind of get them finished within the time frame of the Halloween make-along. Although I have made my little ghost, so at least he can count as my entry. The other project that I've cast on, another new cast on, I think this is the last of the new cast ons, is a garment. And I've been itching to cast on a couple of new garments. I know I still have my Mayma cardigan on the go, and I really do want to pick that back up and get that finished, because I'm really looking forward to the end project. It's just quite I'm not finding it a very mindless project. It's quite a complex project in my head anyway. But I have cast on a So Faded sweater. This is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. It's been around a fair while, and I am not fading mine, I am striping mine. So I bought a while back a pack of yarns from Pixie Yarn, which had 4 blues, and I'm going to drop everything everywhere, you wait, this is going to go chaos. 4 blues and 4... Yep, there they go. 4 blues and 4 pinks. So I am striping. I'm going to leave those on the floor. Fortunately, they didn't go anywhere near my cup of tea this time. I am striping them. I'm going to do 4 stripes of blue, 4 stripes of pink, and just repeat every 10 rows or so. So as you can see here, this is kind of where I've got to. You start this pattern knitting flat and then you join in the round. I've just joined in the round. So this is the back, and I'm trying not to dangle it in my cup of tea. As you can see, I've gone kind of the colours in order of darkness. So I've got the lighter blue, the brighter blue, the more variegated, and then I'm coming in, it's not showing up very well on the camera, into the darker blue, which I'm on at the moment. And then I'm going to do the same. I'm just going to repeat. I'm going to do the pinks, and then I'm going to go back to the blues. So it's going to be kind of a stripy jumper rather than a faded jumper. But that's quite nice because I think the regular colour changes will keep me going with it a little bit more as well. And I'm not 100% sure whether I'm going to have... I think I'm going to be a little bit short on yarn. I've got 400 grams of yarn. Is that right? 2, 4... yeah, 400 grams of yarn, which should be okay, but I may not get full length sleeves. So I think I'm going to aim for a full length body, and then we'll see how much yarn I've got left at the end and make a decision on sleeve length then, because I could just do a short sleeve one to wear in the summer. It's a fingering weight. It's a fingering weight pattern. So a short sleeve one and do it like a little bit like a tee would work quite well as well. So that's my plan, is I'll get the body done and then I'll make a decision about sleeves once I know how much yarn I'm going to have left. I need to untangle myself before we move on. Moving on to the last couple of projects in the basket, and one of those is a blanket. I've actually picked up my Cozy Memories blanket again. I am going to move my cup of tea for this bit. I don't quite know where I'm going to put it. I'm going to just pop it in there. I have picked up my Cozy Memories blanket again. This is a blanket that is so close to being done. It is massive, absolutely massive. And it's probably easier to show you my plan for it, to show you how close it is to being done. So all the highlighted bits... there we go. All the highlighted bits are the bits that I've done, and the rest of it is just what's left to do. So there's really is not that much left to do. I'm on the top row at the moment, then I'll head down the sides and do more down the sides. Now the reason I have a plan, if you've been around a while, you'll know the story of this blanket. I started this blanket a long time ago when I was relatively inexperienced when it came to knitting things like mitered squares and picking up stitches as they go and things like that. And I made a mistake. I'd originally intended all of the lines to go in the same direction, but I made a mistake when I picked up a couple of squares, and I ended up with 3 squares with the lines facing in the opposite direction. And at that point, the squares took me so long, I could not face ripping them out and doing them again. So instead of doing that, I designed an entire symmetrical, chaotic chaos of blanket, so that the lines would create a pattern rather than be... Oh, that was the sock blocker falling off the desk, falling off the stool. So yeah, that the lines would create a pattern rather than, I think, is that the centre there? I'm not sure. I think that's the centre roughly. But the lines create a pattern rather than looking like I made a big mistake. Which will be amazing when it's finished, but it is a little bit of a pain because it does mean that I've had to mattress stitch some of them together, which I don't mind doing, to be honest. It's quite quick and easy. You're only mattress stitching like teeny tiny little bits, but I do have to keep referring back to the chart so that I know which direction the next square is going in. So I've just done these 3. And now for this one, the direction is changing, like the row below, the direction is changing to go that way, which is actually convenient because it means that I'm just picking up and knitting, which is quite nice, rather than having to pick up and cast on. But the overall effect is going to be amazing when it's finished, but it has been a little bit of a labour of love. And next time I do one, I will definitely make sure they all go in the same direction. But yes, that is in my basket at the moment. And I'm enjoying picking it back up again, so I really do want to kind of crack on with it and try and get it finished at some point. And then the final thing that's in my basket, and I have no idea whether I've made much progress on this since last time or not. I will have a little look back and see if I can find... I took a photograph last time because I'd planned to share photos for progress so you could see the progress that had been made. So I will see if I can find that photograph and I will pop it up as well, so you can see if I've made much progress, but I suspect I haven't made a lot of progress. I think I got a little bit stuck in a decision of what I was going to do next, or maybe I made a mistake. I'm looking and there's a little bit of marking on there, so I'm wondering if, I don't know, it's just got marks on it. Why has it got marks on it? Is it just from fluff where I've unpicked something? I think it is just fluff from where I've unpicked something. I'm not sure. I don't know if the marks will come across. Anyway, what am I talking about? I'm not showing you. I'm just rambling to myself. My cross stitch. This is the British Isles Stitch Along from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. And yeah, this is where I'm at with it. I'm not sure how much progress I've made since the last time I shared it with you, but I'm intending to pick it up, hence it's in the basket. because I have also got a couple of other cross stitches that I'd really like to start. I bought the Christmas Village stitch along, which I don't really intend to start over Christmas. It's not going to happen. I know that time won't allow, but I would like to get finished for next Christmas maybe. And I also bought on Etsy a really cute Halloween cross stitch as well, which I would like to give a go and have ready for Halloween next year maybe as well. So we'll see. But yeah, that's where we're at with this one so far. So hopefully I will make a little bit of progress. I don't know if you can see the little marks here. I don't know if they'll come across on camera. I think I unpicked something by the look of it. So I think they're just leftover threads, hopefully. And it hasn't just got stained, hopefully. It shouldn't get stained because it lives in the basket. It lives in a bag. It's quite tucked away and quite safe. So we will see. But yeah, so that is everything that is currently in the basket, although half of it's now on the floor of my office, but I will deal with that shortly. So we will move on to what's on the horizon. So this, as I said, is a kind of a section. It's a little bit like my new cast on section, but I think instead of having a new cast on section, the new cast ons will just go in the basket once I've cast them on. So they'll be kind of mixed in with that. I'll obviously explain that they're a new cast on and things, but this is more of a dream knitting kind of thing, or a needle adjacent kind of project incoming. And I have got 3 projects that the yarn is all caked up for and all ready to go, and I am hoping to get started relatively soon. So the first one, now this yarn has been caked up for a long time. This yarn is from the Lonely Knitter. It is her Earth Day colourway. It is a DK weight skein, and these are destined to become tinsel mitts, which is, I believe that's also a pattern by Andrea Mowry actually. But they are mittens that have a little flap, and he's been asking for them for ages, so I promised I need to get these cast on as soon as I can. And yeah, that's the plan with these ones. They are going to become tinsel mitts. And then talking of Arthur still, I've also got a load of yarn in a project bag for him because he wants a hat. I bought a pom-pom for him, a big fluffy blue pom-pom, because he told me he wanted a blue hat. And then we talked about what he wanted, and he wanted a hat with lots of different colours. So I let him go wild in my minis, and he dug out, don't know if I'm going to be able to show you these all without dropping them all. We'll see. He dug out a whole host of little mini skeins and scraps and stuff like that, which are all going to become his hat. So I think I'm going to make him I'm going to use the Barley hat pattern from Tin Can Knits, which is a free hat pattern, but I'm not going to he doesn't want the garter panel detail. So I'm just going to use the numbers, and then I'm going to just knit the hat basically using those numbers, but not putting in the detail. And I'm going to use I'm not doing the Barley Light, I'm doing the normal Barley, and I'm going to use the yarn fingering weight held together, which I've done before for a Barley hat, and that's worked really, really well. So again, that is another project that I really do need to get on the needles soon, because I've promised him, and he's been complaining at me for ages that I've not been knitting him anything. So needs to get done, doesn't it? And then the third needle adjacent project, or on the horizon project as we're calling it, is another garment cast on. So this is going to be for a Lento sweater. I've forgotten who the pattern's by. I will have to pop that on the screen. Or actually no, I've got the pattern here. How is the name of the designer on the pattern? Yes, it is by Jonna Haitala. I think it was released in Lane originally, but it is a Lento, it's called the Lento sweater, which is fingering weight held with fluff. It's a really simple kind of raglan sweater, and I am using these colours. So the bottom colour, this is Don't Leave the Path, which again is one of my Hobbit colourways, and the top colour is Fern, and they go together beautifully. So I am going to do that one. I do have a slightly light skein as well. So according to my maths, I should need 3 skeins of Don't Leave the Path. But as you can see, my middle skein is slightly lighter than the other 2, which is just one of those things that happens sometimes with hand-dyed yarn. But I will alternate skeins. So I might get a little bit of a striping effect with this one getting alternated with it, but I don't think it will be too much of an issue, especially with the fluff being held with it as well, because that'll give a bit of a general more green colour to it too. But yeah, that is my plan for that one. I haven't cast this one on yet because firstly I want to swatch, and secondly I've not quite worked out my needle size or whether I have the needles in the size that I need. It's quite a it seems to be knit at quite a loose gauge because it's telling me I need something like 6mm needles, and I'm not sure I've got the ones I need in the right lengths and stuff like that. So it's one of those projects that I need to just sit down, have a little look through the pattern, work out what I need needle wise and get it sorted really. So yeah, they are my on the horizon patterns. Okay, so the final thing is, well, we've got shop news and then I've got a giveaway to announce. So the first thing shop news wise, although I feel like I had another thing to tell you shop news. Oh yeah, gnomes. That was the other thing I was going to talk about. So shop news, I wanted to talk a little bit about shop news anyway. I usually do shop news at the end of a podcast, but I'm conscious that when I don't have podcasts up, or I've not recorded a podcast, or like this week where today I'm recording a podcast, but actually once this podcast has gone up, things like the clubs will be closed, the treat boxes will be closed, so the timings haven't worked particularly well. So I'm thinking what I might do is I might occasionally put up an extra little video, which is literally just a shop news video. So if you are curious about things that are coming to the shop relatively soon, I can share them, I can talk about them, but it doesn't have to be restricted to the end of a podcast. I always try and keep the shop news at the end of the podcast, so if you're not interested in it, you can just turn off before we get to that bit. But yeah, let me know what you think. Would you watch little extra shop news videos if they were separate to the podcast, or should I just keep them at the end, but then you might miss out on stuff, I might not announce it. Let me know what you think. Obviously I announce as many places as I can. I have a newsletter which you can sign up to underneath the video. I announce on Instagram. I try and do videos and stuff on YouTube. So I try and get as much out there and as much information out there about things that are launching as possible. But yeah, I'm wondering about doing little, they would probably only be like 10-minute video. But just like if I've got something new coming up and it's not the right timing to sit and record a podcast, I could just sit and record a quick 10-minute shop news video and chat about the things that are going in the shop. So yeah, there'd be like a little separate playlist of videos. I'm thinking of doing that. I'm not sure. I don't know whether to remove shop news entirely from the podcast or whether to just do the bonus shop news ones if I need to and keep it at the end of the podcast as normal. Again, let me know. Give me feedback. So anyway, I do have a couple of things to talk about shop news wise. The first one is just to say that I have my post-show shop update, so post-Glasgow shop update on Friday this week, hopefully, she says. The boys are off school Thursday, Friday this week for in-service days, or yeah, I think it's in-service days. I'm not sure. So they're off tomorrow and Friday. But I'm hoping to get my full stock check done. I'm hoping I shouldn't have too much photography to do. I'm hoping a lot of it will already be on the website and it will just be restocking things. But as you can see behind me, there is a vast, and I mean vast, amount of yarn to head into the shop. Some of this is already on there, but most of it isn't. Most of it is stuff that's come back from Glasgow. It's been shoved on the shelves in a little bit of a higgledy-piggledy random order, so I need to kind of take it off, stock check it all, and things like that. I've also got loads of mini bundles going on, including Hobbit and Beatrix Potter mini bundles. I've got all of the first round Lord of the Rings yarns becoming available again, plus Lord of the Rings minis. I've also got kind of notions going in. I've got new needle stoppers going in that haven't been online before. I've got a whole load of fluff, which I'm wondering if I can... Right, if I drop you, I apologise, but let's see if we can just... Can you see up there? I've got a whole load of fluff colours as well that need to go online. See if I can put you back in the right place. I feel like you're a bit high there. There we go, that'll do. And I've got a load of sock sets. I've got a lot of stuff that needs to go online, basically. So that's my plan Thursday, Friday, is to just kind of blitz the stock check and the website listings and all of that kind of stuff. And then it'll all be going live at about probably 7:30 p.m. on Friday. That's when I usually do a big post-show shop update. Well, that's when I usually do my shop updates. 7:30 p.m. on Friday. The other thing I was going to mention is gnomes. Now, you know I'm obsessed with gnomes, but I have been lucky enough, again, to be an official dyer for the December Mystery Gnome event from Imagined Landscapes. Now, the December gnomes are always super fun, and they're really good. And if you've never knit a gnome, I would recommend them highly, because it's almost done like an advent calendar. So you get an email every single day, but it's not always knitting. So it's a mystery knit along with where you'll get kind of emails like you do with any mystery knit along. You'll get parts of the pattern throughout the month. But in addition to that, you also get a story based around the gnomes, which is revealed in little emails at different parts of the month as well. And generally she'll do recipes and extra little bonus bits and pieces. There's all kinds of things. I have had a sneak peek of Mr. Knightley and what we're knitting for this December Mystery Gnome event, and it's going to be fantastic. I'm so excited. And I've put together 3 kits. So the first one is what I'm calling my classic kit, which is this one here. So you've got, what have you got? You've got an orange, a blue, a grey, and a slightly speckled undyed colourway. My brain is not working. I've gone for kind of tonals for this one. So the blue and the orange are tonal with a few little kind of same coloured speckles. The grey, again, is tonal with some little grey speckles. And then the undyed is speckled. And then we have what I'm calling my frosty kit, which is a paler version of the other one. So you've got a pale blue, a pale orange, a pale grey, and then an undyed with very, very tinsy tiny speckles of blue in there. And then the final set is the heritage set, which is this one here, which you've got a purple, a green, a brown, and these are all kind of tonal speckled. I don't know how well it'll come across on the camera. But they're tonal with speckles of the same colours in there, so they've got a bit of depth to the colour. And then you've got a grey as well, which has got, it's not going to focus, is it? Come on, camera. A grey as well, which has got little speckles of blues and turquoises and greys in there, but teeny tiny little speckles. So those kits are available at the moment, mostly for pre-order. However, I have dyed up extra heritage. I think I've still got some frosty kits available. I've dyed up extra heritage and extra classic kits this week. So the pre-orders will ship probably the end of this week or early next week. It's not a long turnaround because I'm dyeing them up regularly to kind of restock them. The pattern is available to buy now. I will put a link in the description box as to where you can get the pattern from. But yeah, the pattern is available to buy now, although obviously you don't get any actual pattern pieces until the 1st of December. But it is such a fun thing. I am definitely going to be casting it on and knitting it throughout December and probably sharing it with you on Vlogmas as well. So yeah, go knit gnomes. They're brilliant. They're amazing. Everyone should knit gnomes. So that's everything I've got for shop news. The last thing I've got is a giveaway. My camera battery is flashing at me, so I'm hoping I can get the giveaway in before it ends. But as a little bit of a thank you for coming back, sorry for being away for so long, thank you for watching and sticking it out until the end of the episode, I have a giveaway for you all. Now, it doesn't look like much in here at all, but this is the last, I saved this one from last year, this is the last charity advent from last year. So in 2022, and for a number of years previously, I coordinated charity advent calendars or charity 12 days of Christmases with a variety of different dyers. And this is one of the 24-day advents. You can see the little thing there, and all the dyers on the back. So there are actually 34 dyers, I think, on the list, but there are only 24 in this box. But there are 24 mini skeins from 24 different UK dyers in here. And were they 10 gram ones or 20 gram ones? I feel like they were 10 gram minis this year. I think they were 10 gram ones. It's been a while. It's been a year. So if you would like to be in with a chance of winning this amazing advent calendar, then all you need to do is comment on the video, but you need to use the specific phrase. I don't know what I'm going to say. You need to use the phrase charity advent. Use the phrase charity advent in your comment. Tell me a joke, or tell me what you're looking forward to most about Christmas, or if you've purchased an advent calendar, who have you purchased it from? You know, give me something Christmassy themed or a joke, something to make me smile, but make sure you use the phrase charity advent in there, and I will announce the winner on the next podcast episode. So yeah. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for coming back after such a long break of podcasting. I will hopefully be back relatively soon for the next episode with Halloween winners and the giveaway winner and stuff like that. If you would share the podcast on your social media or things like that, that would be amazing, because having had such a break, sometimes numbers dip and views dip and things like that, and it would be lovely to get that little boost again. So if you would be so inclined to share the new podcast episode on your social media or anything like that, then I would be really, really grateful, because that would really, really help me still exist. Again, thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you very soon.